Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Vicki Show right here on African Diaspora News Channel. Be sure that you give the video a big thumbs up and share the broadcast. Thank you so very much. This informs more people that we're here. And how many of you all know it's so important that we support voices like ours? Family, I was reading a piece recently about this $25 billion Nigeria-Morocco pipeline that's being reported. Of course, I've done a bit of coverage, quite a bit of coverage on this pipeline for some time now here on this network. So be sure to check out those broadcasts, would you? But in this recent piece that I looked at, it was put together a few months ago. It talks about how 4 more countries have signed up for the 5,000 km Nigeria-Morocco gas pipelines project, estimated to cost about $25 billion to construct. Now, of course, I talked about this $25 billion Nigeria pipeline and the fear that's surrounding the West concerning the possibility, the economic possibilities and benefits that Africa most certainly would be able to benefit from by constructing and expediting this particular pipeline. Of course, I have done back-to-back coverage on credible evidence of the United States of America committing a nuclear terrorist attack against Russia by damaging and destroying at least one. But she damaged both of Nord Stream pipe 1 and 2. I think one of them was able to be restored, but the other one was completely destroyed. And it was certainly clearly out of jealousy and its partnership with the Western nations. And they were still able to get cheap gas from Russia. But because the United States has imposed all of these crazy sanctions against Russia, and because she was concerned about competition with Russia, she destroyed it. That's what the evidence is showing us. And that's what the reports, credible reports, have shown us. Well, this is important to talk about because more and more light is being shown on the pipeline in Africa and how it could possibly, one of the pipelines was meant to go into Europe to help Europe, but how some of the nations in the Sahel were pushing back on that. Well, this particular pipeline, and I want you to listen, as I just mentioned before, is talking about 4 more countries signing up for this $25 billion Nigeria-Morocco collaboration. Here's my concern. I'll save it. Let me give you these basic facts. The new countries, it says, which signed for the Memorandum of Understanding at the ECOWAS Secretariat, please note, on Friday are Republic of Benin, Guinea, Liberia, and Ivory Coast. Now, I did a piece here not too long ago on Liberia and how you had EU and the United States officials meeting to figure out legal ways to punish Liberia because they claim that they were retrofitting some of their ships and using them to help Russia. So you be sure to check that out. So that's just a side note. They joined Nigeria, Morocco, Ghana, Senegal, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, Togo, Mauritania for the multi-billion-dollar Pan-African project expected to deliver about 4 billion cubic feet of gas daily when fully operational. Now, I am concerned. Some of you may say, why? Let me give you this other excerpt from another piece. Talking about the memorandum on the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline, known as the NMGP, was initialed by the leaders of the National Nigerian Petroleum Company Limited, the Moroccan Office of Hydrocarbons and Mines, and a senior official of the Economic Community of West African States. Who's that? ECOWAS. In charge of energy, according to a joint statement. The text signed confirms the commitment of ECOWAS and all the countries involved to contribute, it says, to the feasibility of this important project. Now, of course, I do my homework. I have so much more to learn, but I read from a couple of these different references because I want you to know something. How many of you all have been keeping up with the coverage? Because it's impossible for me to go over all of that here. How many of y'all have been keeping up with the coverage that we've been giving you concerning ECOWAS and concerning the fact that when ECOWAS was threatening officially to take military action against some of the nations in the Sahel, and they ended up subsequently signing a pact together, and ECOWAS ended up having to back and not do that. We found through our research that ECOWAS was doing this at the behest of the United States and France, among others. Our concern, my concern, is that ECOWAS, I'm hoping, is not being a spy and a tool for the United States and the West. Now, a few months ago, and this is reflected on the U.S. mission to the African Union's website, they did a press release concerning a release from Anthony Blinken, of course, you know the Secretary of State, but this was posted, this piece on the U.S. mission to the African Union, as I just mentioned before. It says, the United States welcomes and commends the strong leadership of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, heads of state and government to defend constitutional order in Niger, actions that respect the will of the Nigerian people and align with the enshrined ECOWAS and African Union principles of zero tolerance for unconstitutional change. We join ECOWAS and regional leaders in calling for the immediate release of President Mohamed Bazoum and his family and the restoration of all state functions to the legitimate, democratically elected government. It goes on to say how the United States further welcomes the dispatch of the special representatives of the ECOWAS chair to Niger and urges all parties to work with ECOWAS. Now, how many of you all know that this has been a real problem? Our concern, because we have given you so much information about how ECOWAS is working hand in hand and doing the bidding of the West, the United States and France. So with this expediting of this $25 billion pipeline, Nigeria-Morocco Pipeline, it is wonderful because it is time for African states to do for self. Yes, we agree on that, no question. But let's make sure before its completion that it is clear that ECOWAS is not being the tool, the spy for these Western countries in particular. Why am I emphasizing this? Well, there's a long history of them doing the work of the West. And I read you that press statement from a few months ago because I want you to know that when the United States and France starts celebrating and endorsing folk like ECOWAS, and you all know France was ready to invade Niger many times, right? But she was happy to stand behind ECOWAS because when ECOWAS was threatening military action against Niger and some of the countries in the Sahel, this made France happy because they could use a black face as their cover. I shared with you before a powerful council here in the United States. I believe it was the Council of Foreign Relations. There's been so many I've covered, where they were plotting concerning the West African states, portions of the Sahel and other parts of Africa, long before some of the uprisings. And they specifically put ECOWAS in their papers as a partner to facilitate the agenda of certain actors here in the United States that have power in the U.S. government and other geopolitical alliances. Do you understand? So because ECOWAS is specifically named and deeply involved now in this pipeline, and obviously have been because Nigeria is the Nigeria-Morocco pipeline, it is my prayer that the other African countries will certainly make sure that they have all the appropriate checks and balances in place so that they're not found doing the dirty work of America and the West like they always have. Just wanted to throw that out there. I can't wait to see what you have to say about it. My name is Vicki Dillard. Be sure to check out my website at VickiPlanet.com. That's VICKIPlanet.com. I have my wonderful new the Vicki Dillard Mystery School, which is my spiritual mastermind course that's going to be starting soon. I have so many other yummy products in a luxury magazine. You don't want to miss these products. So be sure to check that out. And of course, be sure to share the broadcast here from African Diaspora News Channel. I can't wait to see you again.